Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Jade Prather Show. I have commandeered it today. It's not going to be the Chad Prather Show, but it is going to be about Chad Prather.
It's always the Chad Prather Show.
Not today.
Look at what you did right here, down here with the logo and stuff. You covered over it. I want to make sure everybody can see that.
Right here.
Women ruin everything. They really do.
Well, if it had been done right the first time, I wouldn't have had to do that.
Oh, okay. All right. It's your show. Go for it then, sister.
So I have come up with some questions that I think some of the fans would like to know your opinion on. Mm-hmm. I know that you give your opinion a lot and they enjoy it, but now it's going to be about you.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
You want to introduce anybody else in the room?
Oh, yes. Let's do that. First of all, this is Chad. Over in the Peanut Gallery, we have Steve Powell.
I like to call this Party Foul Cove.
Party Foul Cove.
Thank you.
And joining him today is a very special guest. We have Jeff Kyle. Y'all be nice to each other.
She remembers your name.
Yeah.
Yay. We got to give her props.
Yep. Oh, I've been around him before.
Okay.
And he's kind of a big deal.
No.
So you guys can interject whenever you have questions, concerns, or comments for Chad.
Oh, there will be lots.
And then we have Tony, Steve's wife. She might be screaming some things from the sidelines.
Oh, she's silent.
She's a studio
I've been
Silent
keeping her
Tony.
silent for almost 20 years.
Oh, I know
Let's
for a
keep it
fact
that
that's not
way.
true. And then over in the Puppet Gallery, Puppet what? What do you call
I
it?
don't know. It's your show.
Anyways, over here are the important people. We have Mark.
Hello.
And then we have Candace.
That's Mark Tate. His last name is Tate.
Don't act like you know something all of a sudden.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
This is going to be fun.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to start some questions.
Oh, boy.
How did you become an internet sensation?
Well, I'm special. I'm an incredible human being. And the internet came along, and I thought I should be on it. And I just knew that the natural enclave of events as they took place were going to really create a lot of momentum, and they would just kind of flow like an avalanche and just get bigger and bigger if people got to know me. And that's pretty much what happened.
And how did you let me know about that?
Now, I always knew that there was a way to use the internet to get your voice out there and build a platform and to make people laugh and have fun and think about things. And so I always posted jokes on there, and then, I started doing the videos, because for me, the videos were like therapy, because you used to tell me all the time I needed to go talk to somebody, a professional, because apparently I must be crazy or something, but I didn't want to sit on a leather couch with some strange dude who kept asking me every 15 seconds, how does that make you feel?
And how does it make you
makes
feel
me
to
feel
be this
creepy.
internet sensation?
Well, it's pretty invasive. I mean, people are in your life, and for the last, 4 years ago, March 19th was when the first video went viral that I did about comparing Walmart to Target. And that in and of itself should tell you how much of a waste of time I've been in people's lives for 4 years.
I don't think they feel that way, though.
Well, I guess it's entertaining or whatever, but
I can remember laying in bed that night, and you kept hitting me. You're like, I cannot believe this video is doing this. I cannot believe it. And back then, I really didn't get it. I was like, okay, so you got some views. And you were like, yeah, but I mean, you were really freaking out.
I don't think anybody got it.
I
Because I
think so
had
either.
videos that would do 10, 20,000 views, and I'm like, that was a big deal. And then all of a sudden you do 1 million in a day, and I'm going, well, I felt like we'd opened up the front door to the house and invited everybody to go through our underwear drawer, because all of a sudden now you're getting 1,200 friend requests a day, and people are reposting it hundreds and hundreds of times, and you're tagged in it, and your phone's blowing up with notifications, and all these messages are coming in, and there's the hate, and there's the love, and there's the what the hell's going on here, because it was a whole new deal.
Why do you think?
I was doing a show on cable television.
Well, that's true. Yeah, with Ride TV.
In the 21st century, social media, your career takes off further than what's going on cable television. It's a crazy world we live in.
Yeah, and that is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
We're not
a cable TV show?
Yeah. Welcome to the planet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
cool.
He had It's My Backyard with Ride TV.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So we were doing huh?
Who knew?
Most everyone.
They knew.
So no, I did everything backwards. Most people start out doing things like social media or getting well known on a stage or something like that, and then it evolves into television and those kind of things. I did everything backwards. I was doing television, which evolved into social media, which evolved into live shows.
Yes, you have done it all backwards.
Yeah. So you're just now thinking about
So
that.
you asked backwards?
No, because we've talked about that before, how you kind of went backwards. Most people wouldn't do it that way. And I think a lot of people, they're very impressed with the way you've done things.
And a lot of people are very angry.
That is true. That is true. Why do you think your fans leave inappropriate comments?
Well, because they're people and people are crazy. And, that's the thing about social media. People have always left a message on a wall, whether it was a cave drawing or an Egyptian hieroglyphic or something of that nature. And now we're using it as a digital wall. And the problem is, historically speaking, we used to save the voices for posterity were the poets and the philosophers and the kings. Now everybody has a voice, but not everybody has responsibility with that voice. And so they get behind the keyboard with that anonymity and they say all kind of crazy things. When you say inappropriate, what you mean is they're saying, hey, we don't mean any offense, Jade, but we would really want to do your husband.
Yeah. Why would people do that? I have never left that on anybody's
Well, thank God.
Facebook.
I mean, I think it's classless. And we've made public comments about that.
Well, I
Come on.
apologize for those comments.
Yeah.
If Steve Powell would quit leaving them, it'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I've slept with Steve a lot of times on the road.
I know.
But no, I don't. I mean, people just say inappropriate things, and I don't know what drives people psychologically to feel the need to post things like that, but they do. And we've put things out there where we've said, I'm not going to entertain any of those comments. I don't respond to them. I don't click like on them, and it's. And what happened? Because early on, you were ticked. I mean, you were like,
I was like a normal wife.
Yeah, how dare these people say these things to my husband? And what did I do? What did I do?
You read me off all these comments that were so horrible, and I was like, babe, and you were like, that's off of Luke Bryan's Facebook.
Exactly.
I was like, what? And you said, you think his wife's upset? And I'm like, yeah. And then you said, or do you think she's laughing all the way to the bank?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not laughing to the bank. That's the difference.
Sure you're not.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yes. And then how do I deal with that? How do I deal with it in my
You
own
will
way? 'Cause
type
you
out a
would tell me
response.
you cannot say anything,
Yeah.
Jade.
'Cause it
You
just
cannot
makes it
say
worse.
anything.
You type out the response, you read it a couple of times, and then you delete it.
And that's classy, right?
Classy? Is that what you said?
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, look, you know me. I don't care if you post it. It's just going to validate what some nobody that's out there. And I'm not devaluing people out there, but I mean, we don't know these people.
Right.
Some we've made a lot of great friends over the years through what we've done on social media and through the internet. And then we've had people that we've made some people that we've had to, they weren't so great, and then we've had to kind of eradicate those people from our life. And we also have to put people where they are because we don't know them.
Right.
I mean, we know guys like Jeff and Party Foul over here.
Right.
I mean, I've known Party Foul forever, but
Yeah, but there was a couple of times last week that I typed out a comment to respond to some of the hate that you were getting, and I had to delete it twice. I was like, no, I'm just not going to get in it.
Well, something that Chad has said before is they don't think of us as people with feelings. And I think that they forget that about celebrities too. And the longer you have been doing this, the more I'm like, okay, now I get why celebrities, they want to be left alone when they're not on.
Yeah.
When they're not supposed to be on. I get that now.
Do you catch that stuff, Jeff? Do you get it?
Oh, yeah.
You get the weird messages.
I mean, a lot of times I'm kind of like you. I'll intentionally post something just to piss people off.
Yeah, I am a pot stirrer. I wish I could say I wasn't, but I like to, quote unquote, start the conversation.
Yes, you
But
do.
and so Missy Robertson, we went down to Nicaragua with Missy Robertson from Duck Dynasty.
Compassion International.
And we were talking about Jace. And, I said, what's some of the craziest stuff that you've gotten? And she said, we got messages from people saying, I'm going to be Jace's wife. You're not his wife. I'm getting rid of you. And, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what level of crazy do you have to be at that you want to insert yourself in somebody else's life, marriage, and family and you want to say stuff like that? I mean, that's the height of insanity right there. It really is.
I guess they just think highly of themselves.
Apparently.
I
Well,
watch a lot of Chad Prather.
I watch a lot of. Yeah.
Jade, you're out. I've worked my way up through the
You have worked your way up
Chad
through the
Prather,
chain.
chain.
Look, I will
You're
tell
out.
folks, I will tell people, and this is the truth. You know, the old adage of would you rather have fame or money? Take the money. Take the money, because there's a lot of people out there that are famous for a lot of the wrong reasons, or they have notoriety. And I don't even humor my own psyche by thinking that I'm famous by any stretch of the imagination. I could still go a lot of places and not get recognized and not have to worry about it.
Well, that's what we think until we get a message later saying, "Hey, I saw you at Chili's," or
That
"Hey,
does happen.
was that is that you at Michael's or wherever?"
I just see you in the airport in Denver and things
Yeah.
like that. There is an element of that, but come on. Luke Bryan can't go to the Walmart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's celebrity. That's real celebrity. I just
I
get
would
recognized.
love for me not to be able to go to Walmart.
I just
That is
purposefully
like my
don't
goal
go to
right there.
Walmart.
I don't have to go to
Maybe-
Walmart? Yes.
Yeah, maybe twice a year, which, by the way, I encourage people to go get Humor Me on blazetv.com/Chad. Subscribe so you could see Trigger DeBose go to Walmart where we took him in Wichita Falls. Mm-hmm. That was fun.
Which is even better because it was Wichita Falls.
I know. And they didn't notice. Like, I had
Nope.
the mullet,
You
the gold tooth and
you
stuff,
blended right in.
and the sunglasses, and, like, I was walking around. There were people that looked just like me.
I thought I saw your dad for real in Wichita Falls. He is Trigger DeBose's dad.
The only reason they kicked us out after an hour is because we were walking around with cameras. That's
Yeah.
the only thing they didn't recognize was the camera. They were like, because I looked like just a normal shopper
I know.
in the Walmart.
And acting like a normal shopper too.
Exactly.
Hey, they didn't really kick us out. You know why? Because that guy could not give me the Walmart policy.
He didn't know why. He
didn't
just
know
knew we
why.
needed to go.
He just said we couldn't. I said, well, can you tell me what the Walmart policy is for people videoing in Walmart? He says, I can't tell you the policy. I can just tell you can't.
Yeah. And he was right.
Like-
we should have had a disclaimer. Or not what we should have had. What do you call it? The where
You
they
gotta have
got
everybody sign a
an
petition.
agreement
or
thing. Yeah,
agreement.
you're supposed to have that, but we don't ask for permission.
Well,
We
Trigger doesn't.
no, Trigger Debos don't ask for nothing. So we had a good time. So that's why people need to be watching Humor Me, which is behind the paywall. Hey, on blazetv.com/Chad.
Tell me where Trigger DeBose comes from.
Oh, I copied it from another comedian.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
exactly.
He copies
That's it.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Everything I've ever said comes out. But no, I've been accused of that a million times. Which
Well, that's
is
obviously
dumb.
why you're so successful.
Well, I mean, that's all I do is just copy everybody
Because
else's
I think
ideas.
about it, and I'm like, and you're a comedian, and there's dozens of comedians that have an alter ego, and I love them all because I do think you're able to step outside of yourself, and I can't do that. I'm like, when Trigger's around, I walk away.
Any character I do, like when I put the latex on and become Uncle Larry, then which I'll probably get accused
Uncle
of
Larry's
stealing
pervert.
that.
I
Yeah.
can't stand him. I walk away.
Steve can't be around it.
I'm like, I can't
Remind
even
me,
talk
Jeff,
to him,
off
and I
camera.
know it's him, but he's like,
Later
I
on, let me
can't
show you
talk
some
to
video. Uncle Larry's a nut. Oh, I'll probably get accused because his name's Larry.
Probably.
But whatever. These people never cross my mind, and
Doesn't matter what his name is.
It doesn't. Well, whatever. But people. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, well, you copied it," and I'm like, "Come on, dude. There's nothing new under the sun. We just go out and have fun." The key to Trigger DeBose is the dude is if you listen, he's redneck smart.
Oh, yeah.
Like the stuff he says is actually true, but you have to listen through the colloquialisms of his redneck self, and you get it. And then he'll say anything to anybody in public.
But isn't that kind of like you?
Yeah. We know you don't know what colloquialism means. Steve.
Just go with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway,
Chad has
He's been
big
around
words.
A while, I think.
Okay, I know this next question is a big one because I see it all the time.
Oh, sweet Lord.
When you go to post the new places that you've been booked, you'll post, 10 or 15 different places. All the comments under that are always, why are you not playing at this person's place? Or why aren't you in this? Instead of being happy where you have places that you're going to play, they're upset that you haven't come to their place.
So
What's
we do
the deal
about
with that?
95. We do about 95 to 100 live shows a year, and so we're all over the country. We crisscross the country, and admittedly, there are places that I haven't played. For instance, we haven't done a show in Kentucky. We haven't done a show in West Virginia. We haven't done a show in Mississippi.
Arkansas.
There's Arkansas. I've done shows in Arkansas back in 2016, but I'm talking about places I've never been. And so people say, why? Well, it's because liberals screw everything up is the reason. People on the left and people in theater business tend to be on the left Artists tend to be on the left, and because I am right of center and a conservative voice and use common sense to do comedy, I have this reputation of everything from being a racist to being a white supremacist to being a redneck to being blah, blah. I've heard it all.
You do wear a cowboy hat.
I'm white, I'm heterosexual, I'm male, I'm cisgender, I identify as a man. I wear a cowboy hat, I sit in a truck, I own a dog, and I live in a suburb in Texas. So, yes, I am a hate group all unto myself.
But you're not even wearing boots today. You're wearing shoes.
Yeah, but those are twisted edges.
Look at these socks I'm wearing.
Look
at the socks. Look at that.
Those are not even boots. Or not. I don't even know if this.
You know what? Because I got enough masculinity in my soul.
Jeff Kyle's over here out showing you. He's got American flag over here. He's got.
Hold him
like
up in front of the camera there where we can see him, Jeff. Hold him a little bit higher
You're gonna
there
have
where
to
you can
put
see
that
him.
right here in the middle. There we go.
Yeah,
Right over here in the middle.
Yeah, put your fake leg up there.
There it is. I'm like, come on, guys.
God, Jeff, everybody else came back from Iraq with a fake leg. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Good Lord. No,
So what you're saying is it's not.
Get those, by the way.
Steve,
The Harley
back
Shop.
over here.
Squirrel.
Steve's having his own conversation.
Yes, there's two shows. There's the Steve Powell show and the Jade Prather show.
No, but it's true. Liberals screw it all up because they say, well, we don't want to have him in because he's too conservative or whatever. But then we come in. We had that situation happen in Arizona last April where came in there, you couldn't buy a seat. But they originally had said no. They scheduled the show and then they said, no, we don't want to have him in because he's too conservative. And then they came back and said, okay, fine, we'll have the show. And then we sold out so big that they came after the show and said, okay, we can't wait to have him back next year. And, of course, my agent out in L.A. said, nah, we're going to get a bigger place.
So are you saying that when you can't play in certain areas that is within your control?
No, it's not within my control. So back to your question, well, that's what you're trying to say is there's a process to doing a show. The process is my agent has to go out and he has to find a buyer, somebody who wants to buy a package of shows for a certain venue, or a promoter who wants to get a package of shows and say, okay, we're going to do 6 shows. Who are my guys? He goes out and has to sell us. It's just like selling any other marketable item. So he goes to literally like conferences and trade shows where he meets with these people and says, okay, for 2019, I've got XYZ. I've got the Wayans brothers. I've got Chad Prather. And I mean, he represents the Wayans brothers, so I'm using them as an example. So I've got these guys. If you'll have the Wayans brothers, we also have Chad Prather. And so that's the process. And they say, yeah, okay, well, we'll buy them for, here's the deal. And then they have to go out and find the venues they want to place us in because the promoters have the relationship with the theater or the venue. So they have to go out there and do it. So it's totally out of my control. So I get an email that says, okay, on XYZ date, you're going to be in this city at this theater. And people say, well, why can't you come to ours? Well, because somewhere out there, a promoter has pitched me to that local venue, and the venue said, we're not interested.
Right.
So I don't have anything to do with it. So that's why I encourage people all the time. If you want me in your city, call the venues and say, we want Chad Prather to come do a show here.
Right.
And they have a relationship with promoters, and then they do it, they'll work it backwards. The promoter will reach out to the agency. We just switched agencies. We've been with Gersh for the last 2 years, a fantastic relationship with Gersh out of Beverly Hills. They're awesome. They're incredible. But William Rodriguez, my fabulous, and when I say fabulous,
I know.
He's fabulous.
He is. I love him.
He's fabulous.
Fabulous.
My gay Cubano agent,
Yes.
William Rodriguez, who is my hero and just a godsend in my life, has now moved over to Paradigm. So we are now with the Paradigm agency. I moved with him. So,
Right.
yeah, it's going to be good stuff. He's now the head of their comedy division.
Good.
Yeah.
I want you to be the head of that too.
I just want to do shows. I just, and look, here's the thing. We had a conference call today. The fact of the matter is, so we're doing shows 1,200 to 2,000 people on a regular. If I were a liberal, if I were left of center in today's climate when it comes to comedy, if I were a liberal, then we'd be doing 5,000 to 10,000. We just would be. We'd have our own sitcom. We'd have our own talk shows. We'd have all these things that would be going on. I would have, if I were coming along in the 90s, I'd be touring with Paul Reiser and Jerry Seinfeld. Because again, these days, everybody doesn't want, when they go to a show, and the problem is comedians are so, quote, woke, they don't want laughter. They don't want to tell jokes. They don't want to mock anybody. They don't want to ridicule. They want applause. So it's basically like going to a comedic church session where everybody's screaming amen and clapping their hands. Lenny Bruce and George Carlin got arrested for this. They got arrested for the right to do comedy, free speech comedy, and now this legacy of comedians these days are screwing the pooch because they're selling their souls out for the public opinion, and they're afraid to go out and just be funny. But I've said it over and over again. I've said it on this show, and I'll continue to say it on stage everywhere I go. I'm going to mock you. I don't care if you're white, black, fat, skinny. I don't care if you're gay, straight, man, woman. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you live. I don't care what your circumstance is. If you're poor, you're wealthy, whatever. We're going to make fun of everybody. We're going to make fun of Nancy Pelosi. We're going to make fun of Donald Trump. We're going to make fun of FLOTUS. We're going to make fun of POTUS. We're going to make fun of Cory Booker and his crazy eyes. We're going to make fun of Kamala Harris and her sleeping her way to the top, and Willie Brown, and all of them. AOC. This. We're going to make fun of all of them. I refuse to apologize. I am not going. You heard it first on the Jade Prather show.
That's right.
Jade Prather will not apologize. I'm not going to do it. It's in the job description of a comedian to mock you. Go to a Brad Garrett show. He's the leading insult comedy in America today. You go to Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, MGM Grand, right there in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he will insult you all night long. If you think you're getting Robbie from Everybody Loves Raymond, go to the Brad Garrett show. He is the modern day equivalent of Don Rickles, and he will put you in your place, and he don't care. And I love it, personally.
Oh, I know you do. I remember watching him for the first time. I was like, oh.
You're like, damn. I know. Go back and watch Don Rickles, man. Watch Fred Fox. Google him. Watch Richard Pryor. Get past the cursing and the cussing. These guys were making a political statement. George Carlin, whether you agreed with him or not, he was making a political statement. Lenny Bruce was making a political statement. Comedy has always been, to some degree, about politics. It's about pissing people off, getting into the crevices, the dark places of your life, and exposing those things to light.
So would you say George Carlin he was libertarian for the most part in his comedy?
No. George Carlin was very free thinking. I mean, I would say he was a little more left of the classical liberal. That's an interesting question, Party Foul. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah, because I'm thinking here he might have been a little left, but that was kind of
more than a little.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna explore that. I don't know that I even want to explore it, but I'm gonna explore it now.
Yeah, you don't want to be disappointed.
No, he was always, even if he pissed you off, he could piss both sides off.
Look, I love George Carlin.
Oh, yeah.
I had to sneak around to watch him. Was it that way in your house?
Yeah. Oh,
in Kyle's house?
Never,
yeah. Mom was like, no.
We'd never listen to anybody at my house.
Well, we did. We did it.
About your house,
no, my mom wasn't either. Gloria wasn't either.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, I pretty much figured we grew up in the same household, just different.
But go back and watch. Yep. Go back and watch Bill Hicks. I mean, Bill Hicks died way too soon. Way too soon. Pancreatic cancer. But I mean, Bill Hicks, when he was 14 years old living in Texas, he used to sneak out of the house and go to the comedy clubs and perform, get on stage. This guy, I mean, and you want to talk about somebody who just, you didn't know what was going to come out of his mouth. He was censored by David Letterman. David Letterman has come out since his death and apologized and said, I don't know why we censored him, but he did this bit and did the set on the Late Show, and we didn't let him do it because it was so political. It was so honest. But now the only comedy that comes out with the late shows or anything that's on Showtime or Netflix is Orange Man Bad. That is gotten old. That punchline's done.
But it's over. They made a lot of money off of making fun of Donald Trump.
Donald Trump's made everybody rich.
Easy target. I was like, hey, we're going to make a ton of money. In the end, it's all green.
Donald Trump's the best thing to ever happen to CNN or MSNBC. Yeah. He has made them all the money in the world. He is worth $2 billion a year to Twitter. That's why they won't ban him. I mean, Twitter, they could ban him. Why not? They ban everybody else. Yeah, they could ban him for the things he says. But they're not going to because he makes them $2 billion a year. So he's a cash cow. Donald Trump has always made people money. I say to people, they're living in the best America they've ever lived in. This generation are living in the best America they've ever lived in. Unemployment is down. GDP is up. Jobs are available. There is money to be had. The stock market has boomed. Things are going on. Listen, the only thing left for us to do is to screw it up. Screw it up.
He doesn't ever hurt your feelings sometimes?
No, he doesn't hurt my feelings. You got to get a sense of humor. My God, people are so thin-skinned. Do you telling me Donald Trump hurts your feelings?
I ain't never thanked Donald Trump for my paycheck every week. I thank Jade Prather.
Well, let me tell you something. The reason that I'm so successful in this day and age, people want to say to me, they say, oh, you're just a and all this stuff. Oh, you're just a Trumpite and all that. Okay, whatever. Look. If the things weren't going as good as they are right now, I couldn't be filling theaters up because people back in the recession in 2008, 2009, 2010 couldn't afford to buy tickets. You know what went up, what industry went up when Obama was in office during the recession? Alcohol. Because people are always going to find a way to drink when they're depressed, and during a depression, during a recession, people are going to find a way to drink. That's the only thing. That's the only industry that went up, and so everybody can say, "Oh, well, we're enjoying the results of Barack Obama's economy." Give me a break. Look here, this man said, we can't grow the economy unless you find a magic wand. And Donald Trump must have pulled it out of his ass, because apparently he got one and took the GDP from 2.5 up to 4. It's ridiculous what people say. But they gotta make him the bad guy, because he's exposing the lies.
Hey, but explain that to a common guy. Common guy like me, he don't know what a GDP is.
It's okay. That money in your pocket, that's where it's coming from.
Okay, all I know is what hits my account every month or every week.
It means we're producing. It means we are producing things. America is making money. America is exporting. They are creating. They are building, and things are happening to the degree where consumer confidence is big. Our ability to do business as a country has gotten better, and the percentage and rate of growth is excellent.
Why did my gas prices go up this week? This is the thing.
Yeah, high gas prices are a good thing.
But that's what concerns me. Every week. It's like, how much are gas prices?
It means the price of oil has gone up, which is good. That means the per barrel price of oil. So everybody wants to say, well, I need my gas prices to be low. Well, people in the oil and gas industry would say that's not true. Those folks are, if the oil and gas money is being profitable, which benefits you in other ways, then your gas prices are going to be higher. Low gas prices means the price per barrel for crude oil has come way down, and that industry is actually hurting. So your higher gas prices aren't necessarily a bad thing. Yes, you may spend more at the pump, but you are getting more benefits in other places.
Right. Why did you decide to jump into the political arena?
Because I love politics. I love leadership.
But you had thought about it for a while, and you'd stayed away from it.
Well, I love leadership, and the problem is we have this vast vacuum, this void of leadership. There's not enough of it out there, and so politicians, by and large, who should be leaders, aren't leaders. You know, you look at our forefathers and founding fathers; they were leaders. They were thinkers. They were critical thinkers. They were people who had ideas and they ran with them, and they went out into this esoteric thought world and they said, I wonder if this would work as a society. Well, we've got this new country. Let's experiment. And their experiment has worked for 250 years. So, you know, building off of Greek society, building off of the philosophies of democracy and republics and these things, they put this thing together, and you look at it, and now what we have is politicians who go into office worth $2 or $3 million and come out of office or die worth $160 million. How the hell does a congressperson or a senator go in and make tens of millions of dollars on a $170,000 a year salary? It's ridiculous, because they're not leading anymore. That's
it's
the problem.
insider trading. Come on.
This fool don't know what GDP is, but he gonna tell us about insider trading.
I know what. Hey.
Easy, Martha Stewart.
I watched that movie. What's that? The Big Short.
Holy smokes!
I learned that word from The Big Short.
Anyway, I'm learning what's going on from the movie Idiocracy. If you want to see what's really going on in the country today, watch Idiocracy. That was a prophetic movie. And then go read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, because we're living it right now.
You read a lot of books.
I do read a lot of books. But to the point, yes, I felt guilty. I felt guilty because I'd built this huge social media platform. People were listening to me, and I felt guilty. I felt if I don't speak up, because you remember my original thing was I don't want to do current events because they go away too fast, and I don't want to do videos about politics because it's too polarizing. But I knew that America was not going to survive a Hillary Clinton presidency. I just knew. There was no way. Look at how much stuff's been exposed. We learned the Department of Justice is not neutral. We learned that the FBI is not neutral. The CIA is not neutral. We learned that all of this criminal activity, whether we choose to call it criminal or not, was going on, and it's now been exposed. Whether you want to call it deep state, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. But there's stuff going on out there that we have just sat there and swallowed it all these years. So I said, okay, well, it's time to dive into it.
I think your fans are happy about that.
Well, I mean, it made a whole new set of fans.
Yeah, I think it did.
I mean, obviously, I'm a pretty passionate person about things.
Well, your fans knew
barely noticeable.
This was going on a long time in their own communities. It happens in their own small communities. This little politicians they're all full of and they got their own agenda. Well, that's got to carry on up to the bigger stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Your mom's listening to this.
No, she's not.
I'm going to call her.
Or get your mom on next week on the Jade Prather show.
Oh.
Okay, so I was getting a tire changed. I was getting plugs put in the tire.
Was that the lower left back? Because it was showing low.
No. This is the truck.
Oh, okay.
This is the truck. This was back 2015, and little Mexican guy. He was putting the plugs in, and I'll never forget it because he said, "Oh, I know putting the plugs in." I said, "Put the plugs in."
Do you assume he's Mexican?
No, he
his
was
skin
Mexican.
Was brown.
He was Mexican.
Okay.
And he said, I know put the plugs in. I said, put the plugs in. He goes, no, put the plugs in. I said, why not? He goes, they don't last. He said, they last maybe 2 months, maybe 2 years. We don't know. I said, put the damn plugs in. Put the plugs in. I don't care if it lasts 2 months or 2 years. I got to drive a freaking truck. So anyway, this guy pulls up in his Mercedes-Benz. It's an old guy, right? And he's got his red hat on, and he's driving his convertible. It's a red Mercedes, and he's got a Trump deal on his thing. And he said, who you voting for? And I said, well, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where we're headed. And he goes, well, you're not voting for the left, are you? I said, no, I never have. I don't think I will this time. And he said, well, let me tell you who's going to save this country. This man right here. And he points to that bumper sticker, Donald Trump. And I said, you believe that? And he goes, oh, I do. And I said, well, why do you believe that? I mean, what? Because I wasn't sold.
No, I know.
I said, what? You know what? I don't understand what the man has said that has you fired up to believe that he could save anything. Because, back in the primary days, you listened to Donald Trump give a speech, and there was no substance. There was no real platform, similar to the way the Democrats are running today. Mm-hmm. It's just, let's see who can out-radicalize each other. And right. I thought Donald Trump was just kind of this straw man who was putting himself out there to just see how crazy he could be. And,
so when did you change?
Well, when the stuff got real, I started watching. First of all, my mother loves the man. Jeff, my mother loves the man. Like, you can't talk about Jesus and you can't talk about Donald Trump. My mother gets upset. My mother has said some very weird things about Donald Trump, but she loves the man. She loves the man. And I'm like, whatever. But anyway, she said, you just got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. So I did. One of the things that I noticed was his kids and his grandkids. And I started noticing, I said, these are pretty good people here. I mean, yeah, okay, it's a billionaire family. They're going to be a little different from us. They don't live on the same planet or breathe the same air. But they respect him. They love him. They're not turned off by him.
And we saw that when he was signing. All the grandkids
and the grandkids are right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was after the inauguration. Mm-hmm. And you notice this dynamic, this relationship. These kids they're putting up with as much persecution as he is. Yeah. And going back and forth, and here's this family who's in it with him. And so I was like, okay, there's something here, because if a guy is evil, your kids don't love you like that. They just, it's not, it'd be easy to alienate. Like the Kardashians, who the hell knows what the hell's going up with that family? I mean, I don't know.
Who cares?
I mean, dad became a woman or something, became he's half and half. I don't know. But I mean, it's a weird dynamic that's going on. And everybody, they're famous for having a weird dynamic. Mm-hmm. But then you look at the Trumps, and I'm like, okay, this family seems to get along pretty good. Like, they support each other. They look out for each other. And so that was one thing. So there were little things like that. And then I said, I think this guy is pro-America. I don't think he is extreme right-wing. I don't think he's made it and people get on to me, whatever.
Trump's not Republican.
Well,
he's American.
Here Continue. We go.
I'm telling you.
I'm just glad I didn't say it.
I've said it over and over again. I've said it over and over again. Trump is not. He's done everything very moderate. In fact, all of his decisions have been very pro-America. You can't point to one thing to say, okay, well, he's been extreme on this deal. And yeah, you could talk about stuff like I was reading about it this morning. It makes me so mad when people say, oh, well, the Charlottesville, Virginia rally and all this stuff, and he said there were good people. And I said, you got to read everything the man said.
Right.
He said there were bad people on both sides. He said there were also good people on both sides. He said there were people who were not good at all on both sides. And they wanted to. I was watching it. I was in Florida watching the press conference when he said it, and I thought, yeah, they're going to crucify him for saying what he just said. And they did. Little things like that you want to take out of context. Donald Trump's not a racist. Ben Carson came out last week, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Dr. Ben Carson, who we know personally, and it grew up in the streets, grew up poor, became the world's leading neurosurgeon, pediatric neurosurgeon. He's a smart man. Could have been president. Hey, honestly, Ben had my support.
Yep.
He had my support. I was a Ben Carson supporter. Ben Carson said, in my life, I've seen racism. and Donald Trump is not a racist. Come on. What are you going to do? The man has done so much for the black community. He's done so much for the Hispanic community. And look, those are statistically proven facts. The numbers are right there. All you got to do is look at the unemployment rate. All you got to do is look at the money he's put out there. I mean, the CEO of BET comes out and talks about how much Donald Trump's done for urban development. And so it's P. Diddy and Rosa Parks and Al Sharpton and Don King and Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson, all of them were all buddies. They were all buddies with Donald Trump until he became president and then became I said enough.
You've said a lot. You're doing very well,
you took
Chad.
It away from Jade.
You're doing very
about
well.
10 minutes ago.
Well,
Oh,
this is
it's
my
okay.
opportunity to say what I think.
It's okay. Let's
You
see
asked
here.
the question.
Okay. All right.
I'm voting for him in 2020.
Yes, we know. What's the funniest or weirdest thing a fan has asked you or told you?
I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and apparently I had done this video about Depends or undergarments, adult undergarments, and this lady walked up to me in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, because I do the videos and then I forget, because I just put them out there and I forget. Like, I don't go back and watch them again, because again, they're my therapy. And so she said, "Oh, I meant to bring a pair of Depends for you to sign." And I said, "Let me just sign the ones you're wearing." And she said, "No, baby, I want you to sign some dry ones." But I
True
did
story,
go
I was there.
Yeah, he
I
was there. But I did go to show. Funny things happen. Like people will bring me cards and they'll bring me gifts and they'll bring me things and they'll send them back to the green room before the shows. And we were in. Where were we? With Ramona, California, Steve, last weekend. We were in Ramona, California. It was a couple weeks ago. And so the guy sent me a card. A guy sent me a card back in the back. Oh, there it is. There's the card. There's the card. Can you see it?
There
Look
it
at
is.
that. Look at that. It says, and this is sweet. 2019 Ramona, California. Chad, thank you for many reasons. I don't get out much. Your YouTube are like sitting with family talking. It has helped me a lot. In years past, I enjoyed entertaining, helping others, laugh. I miss it, but maybe I'll get well and get back out there too. Please keep being you. Kindly, Mark Linshield, a.k.a. Aloha Mark. And then there was Aloha Luna, which I assumed was Mark's wife or significant other. But I now notice there's a little paw print right there because I came out on stage and sitting there in the front row was Mark and Luna. And Luna, I've never seen a dog that looked so much like its owner. This pit bull support animal was there, Luna, and there was on the stage, right in front of the microphone, in front of the monitor there on stage, hundreds of people in the audience, and I looked down, and there is a big dog bone and a note that says "For Willie."
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Well, now I've just told you, baby. See, this is real podcasting.
That wasn't staged. I kept the card for Chad. So
yeah. So there you are, Mark, right there, buddy.
That was awesome.
And it was.
Yeah,
It was,
there it is, Mark. We still got it, buddy. So Ramona, California.
I mean, that's family out on the road right there.
It really
for
is.
us.
I mean, we
It's
laugh
family.
about it and we joke because it's like, you go out and you meet total strangers and you have no idea of the impact you have on people's lives. You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people who'll send me stuff about how they tried to kill themselves or they were thinking about suicide or whatever, and they happen to watch a certain video that spoke to them or whatever, and then you meet them in person, and about our buddy down in Houston who tried to kill himself and the gun misfired, and he sent me the bullet, and we've been together, and I've got that 9mm in that box on my desk.
Was that a 6-hour round?
It could have been, because
like,
let me tell you, SIG put out that was a 40 caliber round.
Oh, okay.
SIG, I don't know if you know this or not, Jeff. SIG, they just give them to us now. SIG had this series of 40 just target bullets, and about every fifth one misfires.
6 out of 50 misfires.
Yeah. So like every
I ain't dogging them, but I'm just saying something happened.
They just started there. So
impressive.
SIG, they had, but it's kind of good training because if you're at the range, boom, 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 and you misfire, you got to get one out. Unchamber around. It's actually pretty good training, but yeah, it's going to misfire.
Yeah.
It is good training because you don't never know when that one's going to misfire.
Thank you, Stephen Powell.
Hey, sorry. When are you going to ask me something? I'm waiting.
We have. Well, your question hasn't come up yet.
Okay.
Well, it's not for you. It's about you. But
I can't wait to get Steve as a guest on the Graham Allen show on Rant Nation. What's he's called it? Dear America.
We're
America.
going to do Graham Allen.
Dear America. I'm going to get you.
America.
You're going to be a podcast guest on Dear America with Graham Allen.
Yeah, it's Sad Sack Marine. with Graham Allen. All right, let's do it.
So you were just talking about the people that they send you messages, you've helped me, they're depressed or whatever else. Why do you talk about your own depression? Like, why do you share that with everyone?
Well, okay, so several years ago, I thought if people are out there hurting like I'm hurting, then they need to know I'm hurting, because I felt like there were certain things that we did where I started noticing that people wanted to do the same things, like, hey, where do you get your cowboy hats from? Well, American Hat Company. Go to besthatstore.com, based out of Fort Worth. Those guys are great. Where do you get your boots from? Where do you get? And I'm like, well, it's weird. It's like asking Fonzie where he got his leather jacket from. And I'm like, why would people want to know and emulate? And I said, well, okay, well, if you want to know the truth, if you really want to know the truth, then let's get down to the gut level and expose it. And I'll tell you that I'll show you the scars as well. So for me, was the deal, as you know, I would not be where I am today had I not been honest about depression. I wouldn't be where I would not have been successful. There was a time, just similar to Jeff's story, there was a time whenever you looked at me and said, this is not the person I married. You got to get this, because I had let it slack off. And so for me, it's been a 10-year battle. A little bit longer than that, honestly, but I mean, a focused battle for 10 years of dealing with it. And I thought, hey, if you want to see who I am, who I really am, because I know in the Western world, in the cowboy world, it's really, you don't talk about it.
Right.
And I know, coming out of that world, that cowboys don't want to talk about being depressed. Same as we've talked about, military guys don't want to talk about being depressed. You're a man, you're
I got
tough.
a phone call, 3 years ago. We were in Billings, Montana, and I got a phone call from a guy that said, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. And it was Jade Prather saying, hey, I need you. That's what I needed.
Oh, that's so gay.
I'm not going to cry. I promise. But I was at that point of I needed to be needed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because he'd been talking about you for a while, I guess, before he made the phone call.
Yeah, but it was literally that phone call. And she'll tell you that phone call was what I needed.
Don't you make me cry, Steve Powell.
Now, how do you feel about it?
Hey, best decision that he ever made.
Me too. I get that.
But really, that was I was waiting on that phone call. I didn't know that phone call was the one I needed, but it was. It's like, where are you at? I need you.
Oh.
And Chad does that. He just takes what he
2,500
wants.
miles away, doing my own thing, doing my, doing it. He said, I need you.
It was time.
It was time.
It was time.
It was past time.
So I'm going to cry a little bit here.
I know. God.
Hoorah.
Oh, my life would be incomplete without Party Foul Steve.
Well,
it would.
Yes, I like that you discuss your feelings. I like that you talk about the depression.
I'm in touch.
You are, and I think that's important because especially on something like Facebook and social media, period, it's easy to look at people's lives and be like, well, they have it all. Mm-hmm. But we all know that material things and being popular and all this stuff, that's not everything. No,
it's not. I've always said, if your happenings happen to happen happily, you'll be happy. And if your happenings happen to happen unhappily, you'll be unhappy. So it's not about your circumstances. It's not about what's going on in your life, your happenings.
Now, Steve, repeat what he just said.
Hey, something about happen happily and unhappily happen.
But see, you got to get deeper than that. And what I learned a long time ago is this idea of contentment. And to me, contentment means it doesn't matter if you got a lot or if you got a little. You should learn to sit down on the inside, no matter how frenzied the outside may be. You got to sit down on the inside, and it's hard to do because you got to calm your spirit, calm your soul, and just be content. And that's one of those deals, Apostle Paul said, whether I've abounded or been abased, I've learned in whatsoever situation I am to be content. And it was right on the heels of that he used the verse that so many people like to quote, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's the whole deal. That's the key to contentment is you got that inner thing going on inside of you. That's the real deal. Because it's easy to let the frenzy take over. It's chaotic.
Yeah, I think that's where one of our favorite songs, Jason Boland's songs, comes in. I'm not name dropping Jason Boland because I don't know him personally, but he has a song. I'm happy.
I think Tony does.
Oh, she probably does, but it's about being happy wherever you are. I don't know what is that lyric? Being I'm happy wherever I'm at right now. What is that?
Look it up, Steve.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a microphone.
It's
Yeah.
Anyway,
We'll come back to it.
come back to it because it is. It's about being content wherever you're
Now
at.
we're selling Jason Boland records. I like it.
I
Well, I
was.
like Jason Boland, so that's fine.
We were
So,
listening to
Chad,
Jason this morning. as a
You
matter of
you
fact.
give a lot of tips.
I was in
like-
the bathroom.
Like you're always in the bathroom.
I'm regular.
I know, but regular means you go
Squatty
in there and then
potty.
you come out and you go back in later. You could just stay in there all day.
I could. Well, they cut a foot of my colon out last year, so it's a direct
I
route.
don't want to hear it. I've had the same surgery.
Okay.
I'm not in there that
Yeah,
often.
well, you just go in there and fart petals and rose petals.
Rose
and
petals.
glitter
That's
and
right.
Unicorn dust.
That's right. So you give all these tips and
And then she turns
everything.
the fan on because apparently unicorn petals suck and they
Hey,
smell bad.
That's a question I want to ask Jay because Chad is an inspiration for other people outside of your own home.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. But what about inside your home?
Oh, he definitely is an inspiration. And, especially for my kid, Brandon, who's with us the most out of all the kids, he's made a very large impact on him without actually ever having to touch him.
That means
They
I have
didn't whoop
never,
that
I've
ass.
You've never beat him. That's
He's
right.
not my kid. I mean,
Nope.
he's my stepson. I've disciplined him, but I've never beat him. I didn't feel like that was my role.
He's inspired both
Beat
of
him.
us. He's inspired both of us, and you can see the changes in us. And I've told my coworkers, I've told my friends, as far as me, after being with Chad, and we've been through some rocky years, some rocky times for sure. But I could tell once I started dating him and being with him that I was all of a sudden taking on some of the things he does. Like, for instance, I was much more, I guess, maybe friendlier, or I took more time when I would go and see my patients at the hospital. And you may cough.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, but I knew that I was a better nurse. I was a better mom, and I was a better person. I was a better friend overall because of Chad. I mean, I still wanted to kill him and choke him sometimes, but overall, he's been very positive in our lives.
Bless your heart.
I know.
Now I got to buy you dinner, don't I?
Yes, you got to buy mine too.
Oh, boy.
motherfucker.
But what I wanted to
mumbled
say,
that.
that was a good question. What I wanted to say
still
is you
picked it
give
up.
tips and everything about being depressed. Do you feel like you take your own advice?
I do to the degree that it matters. Because, again, I don't tell people what to do because there's no map. Everybody's different.
Right.
Some stuff's, circumstantial. Some stuff's chemical. Some stuff, But there's no map, and I don't want somebody trying what I do because, for years I went without any form of medication or anything like that, and I was successful to a degree with that, and then I got to a point where I had to do medication again. I always say that I feel like if you can get talk therapy, then get talk therapy. And what do I mean by that? You go sit down with a therapist, you go sit down with a doctor, you find a person who you can talk to that knows a little more than you that can walk you through some things. If talk therapy over a period of time is not helping you, then go get medical therapy. That is, get the right combination of drugs that are that'll help level out that chemical situation that's going in. If it's circumstantial, again, it's back to your happenings happening happily, then change the circumstances. So there's elements, all of it. Some works for some people, some, it's a different combination of things. And I have people who say, well, you just need to get on this drug or whatever. Well, maybe not. Maybe you need something completely different. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're just missing a vitamin element in your life that needs to be changed.
Well, there's a reason there's a lot of avenues to go down.
There's a lot of avenues. Mm-hmm. So what I say is the biggest thing where I take my own advice is I go and talk to the people who know more than me. Mm-hmm. I'm very thankful for my nurse practitioner that I sit down with, Now we're like every 6 months, and he just says, how you doing? And we have that conversation. Usually we talk about the latest whiskeys we've been drinking and things like that, and who's got the latest tattoo and where'd you get it and all this stuff. So it's just a good conversation, and he's a good dude. But sometimes people need to get a little more intense with that. But the biggest thing that I do is I talk about it.
You
I
talk to
expose
me
it.
every week on the way to the airport.
Because you depress me.
And sometimes, I was going to say, sometimes you ask me something, you're like, I'm going, and you'll tell me, hey, I'm dealing with this, whether it's at home or whether it's whatever. And sometimes I don't have an answer. I'm just like, yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
So how does that?
It's weird.
I
mean,
don't
it's
know
weird.
I offer no help.
But sometimes I think
you
he just
listen,
needs,
and that's
he
good.
listens. And you
Yeah.
know what? I do that at home. I listen a lot, actually.
Yeah. Well, our wives are forced to listen, okay? Because it's kind of in their
You're paid to
description.
listen.
Yeah, it's in the description. You're supposed to. As far as buddies
I just
and
realized Steve is your therapist.
No, as far as like,
Oh, God.
well, no, because that's,
so
you don't want me as a
Trouble.
therapist. You'll be upped up. So upped
Tony
up.
just said,
Upped
"Why do you
up's a
think I
new word.
drink?"
You can be upped up. So no, but
As long as you do it happily.
that's
up.
we sat around the campfire the other night, and it's just me and him and a campfire, and the therapy that I get from that, it's like it beats anything that anybody could ever talk to me about.
And then we got in the tent and got all broke back.
Yeah. He was on bottom.
Why do you always have to ruin it, Chad?
He made it sound that way, talking about being around a campfire.
No, because you think about it. You sit
It was
around
the
a
fire pit.
campfire.
Yeah. It wasn't
And
a camp.
it's just a couple of guys sitting around a campfire,
Look at
poking
Jeff's
the wood,
face.
burning it. Look, is that sexy?
I don't know where this is going.
Is that sexy or what?
I mean, you just
That
keep
is
saying
a pretty
campfire.
face.
It's not on
Campfire.
you.
Is that like
Oh,
the
wait.
safe word?
Sorry, I have a
Campfire
bad
is a
habit
safe
of
word?
pointing with my middle finger.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he does do that.
Yes, I pass that off to my
I'll look
nephew.
over at Steve and he'll be making a point going
I was
like,
like,
this.
no. I pass that off to my nephew, and no one in the family
got the
has an
song.
idea why he points with his middle finger. It's because it's natural. So, sorry.
Tony found the bowling song, started playing.
It is. It's Comal
Comal
County
County
Blues.
Oh, I
Blues,
love
yeah.
that
Because
song.
it's kind of happy being wherever you're at.
Yeah.
And you got to be,
It's
wherever you're
funny.
at, just be happy with it.
What else you got, babe?
Let's see here. Okay. Let's
People have
see.
heard enough about me.
Well,
How we
this-
doing on
this
time,
is-
Marcus?
Yeah, how we doing on time, Mark?
About 50 minutes right now.
Okay.
Oh
you
my.
got
We better wrap
9
it
more
up. Okay,
minutes.
hang on. So, what is your ultimate goal with your career right now?
I wish I knew.
All right, next question.
No, I mean, everybody has.
Let's come back to that question. His ultimate goal.
Remember
is
what I said
to-
about rich
yeah.
and not famous? Yeah, private island. Me and I can look across the water and wave at Richie Sambora.
Well, who else would be on the private island with you?
Yeah, you could come.
Oh.
The
Wait, can I be on the other island at least?
Steve wants to live in the shack on the island.
Yeah, I'll live in the shack. I don't
know. For
can be
me,
your
I truly,
Wilson.
it's all about the journey. There's no destination in mind. I have all these people who have these agendas for me. Arthur, my manager, he's got, he'd love nothing more than to see us have a sitcom in Hollywood because that's his world.
Yeah.
That's what he does. I don't lose sleep over that. Stuff like that, if it happens, it happens. We've met with everybody, ABC, CBS, Fox, TBS.
FBI, CIA?
CIA, yeah, I mean, we're in the database. I mean, we
what
meet
did
with
the
all of them.
FBI have to say about me?
We sit down, we're with all of them. So it is what it is. Look, I'm not going to stop being conservative. I'm not going to stop being common sense. I'm not going to stop talking about things I believe in. And obviously it's a hard day and age to be in Hollywood doing things like that. And look, I love being in Texas anyway. I love being on Blaze TV. This is fun. It's a family.
Mm-hmm.
I have people all the time who say, man, well, Blaze TV, they're this and they're that. And I'm like, whatever, man. The CRTV and the Blaze TV family is a great family. I come in here and I sit down and Natalie's here and Steve's here and Candace and Mark are here and you're in here sometimes. And we've got, all these guys around here from, Stu and Jeffy and Glenn and Graham and just Sarah
Gonzalez.
and
Yep,
all
don't
these
forget
people.
her.
I mean, it's just good times. And then not only that, but the staff and the writers and the Andrew Heaton. I mean, they're just fun people. And everybody's got everybody's back. So I don't know. I'm happy to just sit here and do this day in and day out.
I do think you like the podcast.
I
quite a
love
bit.
doing the podcast. Our podcast numbers did not translate well over from podcast 1 to here. To Blaze TV for whatever reason. We took 4 weeks off and we moved the production from podcast 1 where we were killing it, and then we came over here and now our numbers are off. You can get it obviously on YouTube. You can see snippets thanks to Candace and Mark, especially Candace these days doing the little 3-minute videos on Facebook. We were doing the full episodes. Now you can get them wherever podcasts are offered. We're on SoundCloud, we're on Stitcher, we're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Like, there's no excuse not to get it. If you like to listen to podcasts, I mean, we've had some great guests. We've had Jeff on here.
Hey, Jeff
Powerful.
Kyle is sitting right next to me over here in Party Foul Cove, and y'all haven't let him get a word in edgewise.
I'm good.
Jeff's a quiet dude.
He's like, I love him.
But I mean, we've had Jeff on as a guest. We've had Colonel Allen West on here. We've had Jason Piccolo, we've had Mike Ritlin, we've had Jacob Schick, we've had, I mean, the list goes on and on. We've had some great people on here who have not only served their country, but are still continuing to do that in a big way, using their platform and their voice. So I enjoy it.
Yes.
It's fun for me.
Well, what do you think about your wife?
She's all right.
What else do you think?
She's a good kisser. Well, from my perspective.
Yeah. Steve found out all about that on New Year's Eve 2019. Yeah. Biloxi, Mississippi will never be the same.
It's kind of lame.
I know.
We're gonna have to
Lame
work
kisser.
We're going to work on that.
Because you got rejected.
I got rejected.
That's funny. Well, you know, I joke about it on stage, talking about being at the gym, not in the gym, and calling you on the phone and saying, hey, this is it. I'm done with this job. I'm going to go make a living just being myself. And you said, well, what's the street value on your personality? So, you know, we're about to find out. I think I had my own smart-ass comeback. But, yeah, no one else could walk through everything that we've done with me the way that you have. I mean, like if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, Steve, did you hire the bus?
The bus is hard.
Is it a school bus?
Like,
Because I'm going to be around the school.
I
just
can't
don't
call
know.
it back. You know that, right?
You've dealt with a lot. You've put up with a lot. You've had to take a lot, and the ups and downs of it. And I've told you over and over again, you know, I won't go into the specifics of what I've said to you. I said, but, you know, if you hear me complaining, just kick me right in the, yeah. It's so.
But what if you have a knee-jerk reaction?
Because we're blessed and we're fortunate and we've had a blast and we got great people in our life. But you've walked through that whole thing. You've seen it from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And it's you put up with a lot of things and you've learned to take it in stride. I mean, you know, I'm married to 17 different people. I'm engaged to probably
I was gonna
more.
ask
I've got a lot of girlfriends out there. And
I know that your picture at least, and
I'm on
perhaps
Plenty of Fish.
you're
on
on
Match.
every-
I'm on.
He's on Grindr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve wants to start a new dating website called Binder.
Yeah, I was going to start it. It's called Binder. It's like,
Which is a whole sadomasochism thing. It's
Yeah.
like a whole 50 Shades of Grey secret room, put them in the handcuffs, Binder. Yeah.
What do you think about people stealing your picture and doing that?
I mean, I
I've
can't do
only done
anything
that
about it.
twice. You cannot, like,
I want to know why
Listen,
nobody
let
has
me tell
stolen
you.
my picture.
Let me tell you something. So I got a message the other day. Jeff, you'll get a kick out of this. This lady sent me a message the other day. Somebody used my image, my name, and all that stuff and was talking to her. And they're like, why? Why do people steal your stuff? And they go on and create these accounts and start talking to people. She sent this cat $25,000.
Australian.
Because she thought it was you?
She thought it was me. 25 grand she's in. She
Well,
had
will
no
she
idea.
send it to you now, to the real one?
She had no idea who I was prior to that. Now she's a fan. But she fell in love, and $25,000 it cost her.
Now, if you've
Like I
received
said
a message
before, you
from,
can't fix stupid.
No, you can't fix stupid.
if you've received a message from me asking for money, it's legit.
That's usually a collect call.
But,
I'm like,
from
yeah.
the jail.
I'm like,
No,
just send it, y'all. PayPal.
no.
Venmo.
If
Hit me up
you're
on
getting
Facebook.
messages from me, and if I'm wanting you to send you naked pictures or money or whatever, it's not me. So report it. Look, my Twitter, my Instagram, my personal, and my fan page on Facebook all have the blue check mark verification, so you can tell if it's me. If it doesn't, that's it. I'm not creating. I get messages every week from people saying, "Is this you?" And no, it's not. Just report it.
Yeah.
Just report it.
Well,
So,
I'm not that popular, but maybe one day.
it's okay. People love you though. People do love you. You weren't such a
Such a what?
witch on wheels.
I am not a witch on wheels.
Yes.
He didn't say fuddy-duddy. You're good.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good to go.
Every-
Well, thank you for answering my questions today
Oh, it's been my
on the
pleasure.
new Jade Prather show.
Yeah, this is going to be a whole new thing. Blaze TV is now going to offer you a gig.
That would be great.
It would be fun. I think I like sitting on this side better. I think, Mark, I like this side better.
You
Let's
look
split-
better in that seat, actually.
I know.
With Studio 22 behind you,
I know.
you look way better in that seat.
I think we're going to have to move the
let's
entire
change it up.
studio around.
Oh, no.
There you go.
And when we get out
Poor
of
Mark.
when we get out of this studio, we go over to the permanent studio. Then I'm going to sit on the left side. We'll sit on.
I think I'm at a bar back at my next studio. So I think a high top table. A
Does
bar of
anybody
whiskey.
love Steve as much as Steve loves Steve?
Hey,
Tony said no.
hey, I love some Steve.
Well, this is fun.
This has been fun.
Well, thank you for
Jeff
letting me
loves
be
me.
in the hot
Shut up,
seat,
y'all.
Jade.
You're very welcome.
Been fun. You want to tell everybody where they can find us?
You can find Chad on Facebook and on Twitter
Tell them.
and Instagram. If you'll just go look and Google.
No,
It's
blue check
watchchad.com.
mark.
It's simple. How
Watch
hard
Chad-
is it?
yes.
Chad at watchchad.com.
but tell them how they can get
Chad.
Humor Me and even more episodes.
They can
of
go
the-
to blazetv.com. You put it in that little search engine bar
/.
/Chad.
There you
It's
go.
And that way
Blaze-
you'll get it for cheaper.
BlazeTV.com.
Well, no. You go to blazetv.com
/Chad.
/Chad and use promo code Chad,
There you go.
and then it'll be cheaper.
What Chad said.
So,
I was going to say that.
all right, now you give them a send off, give them a sign out. Say,
Thank you, everybody, for being with us today on the Jade Prather Show. Thank you, Mark, for putting up with us.
Absolutely.
And Candace for looking cute.
oh. All right, let's go to dinner.
Okay.
I love y'all. God bless.
I love y'all. God bless. Facebook poke.
You got to go.
Bye, y'all.